What up, y'all? This is Junior Kesselbach down here from South Florida. I'm gonna be doing a low skin fade today. My initial guideline, I always like to use the Oster Octanes to create my first initial guideline with a 5-0 blade. It creates a very clean and seamless guideline where you're not dulling out your trimmer blades. Clean guidelines will help you get a very detailed fade. As you can see, it does it fast and efficient. I like to leave the bottom because I come back and get that next. So what I'm doing now is I'm using a number 1 guard to create my first initial guideline. I usually do my guidelines about 1 inch thick, and then I'll be going next to the adjustable clipper. This is by Babyliss, the FX Gold clipper. It's a very good clipper. I have it probably to the 4th notch right now, and the 4th notch helps me lighten up the area. Basically what it's doing is we're already in the beginning fading phase. Basically what we're doing here is we're lightening the area. Basically when you're fading is you're lightening the area. You're making an area of transition. Basically that's what a fade is. So I'm just cleaning it up, very short strokes. I'm using the corner of my clipper as much as possible. As you can see, that's very important. You know, use the smaller part of the clipper to create like these flawless transitions. That will help you later on, like when it comes to detailing, and it kind of suits as a detailing as the process. Now what I'm using is the number 1.5 guard with the Oster Octane to create my second guideline. I use this time in and time out because it's a lot more efficient and faster, and I feel like it creates a lot cleaner guideline. So I like to use these, believe it or not. I'm hitting the hairline with some hairspray. Go ahead and hit it with the hairspray at the beginning so it doesn't move too much when I start edging it, and it'll dry by the time I get there. You don't even have to use your blow dryer. I'm going down with the grain of this guy's hair because this guy has like a little bit of a wavy pattern, and his hair grows all different ways. So what I'm doing is I'm going down on it to help transition to a cleaner fade. Basically I got a 1.5 guard closed basically right now, and I'm just bringing up the guideline and removing some of the bulk off the side, so it helps me transition when I actually start fading. It's going to help me get a cleaner haircut. That's all I'm doing, is just blending it out, basically creating another guideline, and then I'll be switching to the number 1 guard open, and I'll be removing the guideline in the middle that I just created with the 1.5. As you can see, I'm just using the corners. Like I'm not using anything other than corners because I don't want to go too much higher within the process of the fade itself, because I'm trying to keep this low as possible, low fade. It is probably a more difficult haircut for people, I would definitely say. I've learned to perfect them. I have a technique that just makes it fast and efficient, and it does it pretty clean on the majority textures of hair. Right now I'm using the half guard, and I'm cleaning up underneath that one line that we initially started with when we first put the guideline in. I'm doing that with the half guard and the clipper open as well. There's no guard on right now. Especially with hair like this texture, you can definitely get away with using the clipper open with no guard instead of using the half guard, and just using the corners to create like a transition in the blend, because of the curly texture pattern in his hair allows you to do that. So that's what I'm doing, and it helps. You know, the less hair you remove in the process, it will help you within the blend. People think it's kind of counterintuitive sometimes when you think of like, why would I want to move the less hair? But it's not about moving the less hair, it's about fading the hair in the process of removing the hair. That's why using the corners of your clippers are so important. It will help you throughout the process to create very seamless blends. I stress that, and I can't stress it enough. As you can see, I'm still doing it. I detail most of my haircuts in the process of while I'm doing the haircut. Most people don't. They'll come back and try to do the detailing at the very end. I do it at the end as well, because there's always things that I miss, but I try to detail it much as possible in the haircut. Now I'm using the trimmer and just cleaning up those hairs that I missed. Not really missed, I left on behind on purpose. So I'm just getting it a very, very clean skin, because it is a skin fade. I don't put this shaver usually on black guys or people of color. The reason being, it causes them to break out. I see a lot of people do it. That's fine. I'm not saying it's nothing wrong. I'm not bashing the people that do it. I just don't particularly do it on, you know, people of color unless they physically ask me for it, because it will cause irritation to the skin. You know, and those are things that people don't really understand. Like, why are you getting irritation? Why is this happening? It's not necessarily that the clippers were dirty and stuff like that. It's just bad practice and stuff that barbers probably were taught throughout their career, and it's one of those things that kind of adapted. I don't do it, you know, unless they physically ask. Right now, I'm just cleaning up his shape up. His shape up was kind of pushed back a little bit from the previous. I think he went to another barber outside of the shop. It's normally my client, but I wasn't able to get him. And for some reason he went somewhere else, and I told him don't ever do that again. If I can't get you, you still better off getting a haircut with anybody in the shop itself, because I know daggone well they're gonna give you a better haircut than what he received outside of the barbershop. And then I'm not bashing other barbers or other barbershops at all. That's not what I mean, but it's just, we have a culture here, and clean haircuts is one of the things that we do. So now what I'm doing a different approach. I'm actually giving him the same type of haircut, but I'm doing it different on the other side. I'm skinning it out with the trimmer as well, pushed down. People would kind of frown upon that because it says you're leaving a hard guideline. Yeah, it's a hard guideline if you don't know how to get it out, but as you can see, I'm going right back underneath it and scooping out. So I'm removing the hard guideline that I just did create. The reason I'm doing this on this side, I thought mid haircut, a lot of people aren't gonna have the octanes and stuff like that, or, you know, so let's do it with a clipper that most people possibly would have. And definitely, everybody's got some type of trimmer. I'm doing the number 1 guard again, because this is just my approach, especially with this texture of hair. 1 guard is the same. You can do that with any clipper that you have. Basically, you put the number 1 guard on, or the half guard on a Babyliss or a wall clipper. Just have it open and do the same thing. Now I'm in the process of removing the guideline that I initially put in, basically with the 1. Now I have it closed to, I think, the 4th notch, and I'm just flicking very lightly, and like I said before, transitioning it. Transitioning means basically I'm lighting the area so it fades. As you can see, it's fading very, very, very fastly. And I do have this video sped up for video sake purposes, because it would have been a 30-minute video if I put it on YouTube, and you can't do that. 14 minutes is a good enough amount of time that will keep somebody's attention. So basically what I did was I blended out the first line. Now I have the half guard on, and I have the half guard pretty much closed, and I'm opening it as I get higher, just to remove that guideline that I just created with the 1 guard closed. And as you can see, I took the guard off for the back because the hairs wasn't blending as fast, so I removed it. Now I'm using the corner of the clipper to clean up all the stuff that I might have missed, and it's doing rather fast. Now I have the 1.5 guard on, and I have it closed. I'm creating another guideline. I'm going in about 1 inch, and I'm just gonna keep working my way up until we're completely blended out. Going around the back, trying to clean up the black area. As you can see, there's a few areas where that I need to clean, like on both sides where like there's a left patch and stuff like that. Thick hair, don't worry, that stuff's gonna get gone. My process is kind of, it's not all over the place, but it's definitely, as you see things, you know, correct them. And I do it and I'm basically got the 1 guard open, and I'm cleaning up that 1.5 guard that the guideline for the 1.5 guard that we just created, basically. I'm going with the grain on some of this texture because I'm trying to get stuff just to lay down as much as possible. And believe it or not, going with the 1.5 guard, especially above the edge up area where his hairline is, will help you get a more crispier edge because it's shorter in that area where you're creating a guideline. So those things help out big time, believe it or not. I'm gonna keep detailing as much as possible right here. This is what I could consider detailing as much as possible, because as you can see, there's a lot of dark spots throughout this client's hair. There's so many of them. It's just, you just got to kind of keep going back over the areas over and over and over until you're kind of happy with your results. And that's kind of what I do throughout the whole haircut. On every haircut, how I approach every haircut, I'm looking at the hair, I'm watching how the hair reacts to the clipper itself, and that gives me like an ideal of how I need to approach it, or what I need to do to approach it. So these are things that I'm really happy with, believe it or not. You see, I'm following the natural curve. I'm trying to bring his hairline back as much as possible, even though it was pushed back a little bit, but he did have enough grow out where I still could give him a decent sharp edge without doing too much stuff. I am going to use a hairline enhancement. I'm going to use the airbrush machine on this client to make it a little bit sharper than possible. I don't normally do it for him, but I am going to do it for this time, just to have this client still happy. You know, when you're bringing somebody's hairline back from it being pushed back a little bit, usually it's not going to be as sharp as possible. So I was like, you know what, I got to offer this guy something to make him still feel like he's got a haircut. You see, I'm going back over now, detailing again. I'm getting some of those darker spots just to smooth it out, especially on the top. I left a few patches or whatever. I don't even know if I left patches or did I even cut it. I don't remember cutting it at all. So now I'm going back in there and getting it to make sure everything looks good and it transitions very nice and very polished. But here's where I'm using the airbrush. I'll do a tutorial on my ratio of the airbrush liquid as well, how I mix it, because people don't understand, man. If you don't mix your airbrushes properly, you will get a lot of clogging and it won't last you very long. So you definitely got to get the ratio of the liquid mixed down good, so you don't have those issues with clogging, and it works when you need it to work. So I'm adding a little bit more, especially to the front area. You know, definitely. So everything's looking good so far. I'm definitely happy with the haircut. Curve the card a little bit to create a nice little C. I left it a little bit dark on the edge, but that's fine. The reason being, I watered, this stuff is diluted down, so it's not gonna leave a very dark tape line. Basically, like in a day and a half, it'll start fading and leaving look way more natural in a day and a half. Like the next 2 to 3 days after this haircut's gonna look really, really clean because of me not going so dark with the hairline. Now I'm using a razor, just cleaning up everything to make sure all the little small hairs are gone, you know, and to polish out the haircut. No haircut can be polished without the razor blade, I don't believe. You know, I see a lot of barbers in different areas, they do not use the razor, and I think with this day and age you kind of got to, you know, like we're charging, they're paying you for a service, man. You definitely should give them the best service possible, and a razor is one of those things that will help you achieve some of the best service possible, because it'll help people's hairlines and haircuts last a lot longer. Pretty much we're all done with this haircut. Guys, please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be coming out with crazy content of everything, like business, growth of the barbershop itself. End result, you get to see clean haircut. Thank you.